Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You remember them? And if you'd like to text the show, we're on 8 12 15, and we'd love you to, because it's often the funniest bits. And you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show. Remember those? On the Absolute Radio website, which you can just look up on, what's it called again?
Ecosia.
Oh, yeah, we love that one.
Ecosia, the search engine that saves rainforests. Also, David Baddiel.
Yes.
Remember her? David Baddiel is going to be on the show.
He's coming in.
He's coming in.
And I'm confused because I thought he had swimming lessons. I thought Ezra had swimming lessons on Saturday. So
well, maybe he's made arrangements.
Well, he must have. But I just want to check he's not home alone.
If he comes in here with a rolled up towel under his arm, we'll know what's going on.
Or wearing trunks.
Oh no, that wouldn't happen. Would it? Okay. Well, speaking of celebrities, I was walking along the south bank of the Thames.
Well, that's your manner.
This week. That is very much my manner. I'm just going to go on, you know that ramp that goes up to the Royal Festival Hall?
Yes, I know well.
Yeah. I walked past the Royal Festival Hall in the morning. I didn't realise they use it a lot for graduation ceremonies.
Uh-huh.
So there's people in, the big black cloaks and the mortarboards knocking about. Always feel sorry for the ugly people. It's never worse time to be an ugly person.
Specifically then, or
specifically.
I generally feel sorry for them.
No, I'll tell you what it is. It's a very unforgiving outfit. The graduation thing, and the beautiful people. It's because it blocks out everything except your face, more or less.
Oh, yeah.
So it even takes the hair and everything away. It's just your facial features are absolutely framed and central.
And I just say, not if you get a hairdresser the morning of your graduation, but that's another story.
I know, but even so, the mortarboard.
The widow's peak, I know what you mean.
Exactly. And the ugly they can't offset it with clothes or anything.
There's nowhere to hide.
And I pass, a lot of them are having their photos took with the river in the background, and there's beautiful people, and there's, people in the larger category where I myself reside, of the very ordinary looking, and then there's the ugly. And I feel for the ugly. Could they not be allowed to wear a slightly colourful mortarboard or something to take the edge off it? Anyway, that's not my point. My point was I was approached by a couple, male and female, the old-fashioned style, yeah. And they approached me.
Couple, yeah.
Got a bit old school, these people.
Couple, yeah.
Yeah, what's going on? I said, come on, get with it. Anyway, it turned out they were from Ireland. They're from Belfast, in fact. Mm-hmm. They haven't caught up yet. So they said, oh, nice to see them. We had a chat. It's lovely, and they're very nice people. And I said, so how come you're in London over for a bit of a holiday? And no, she said Matt Goss was doing a showcase last night at the Café de Paris, his new album. A showcase, they did like 3 tracks.
Yeah.
She said, so we flew over for that.
Flew over?
Matt Goss.
And I said, she obviously saw a smile playing on my lips, and she said, I'm a big fan of Matt Goss.
Oh.
She said, I'm a big fan. And obviously I was threatened. and I thought, well, respect, because I really like people who stick with people when their careers. Mm-hmm. So I looked up Matt Goss, because I thought, oh, well, I just thought he'd just gone.
In that case, can I just say Matt Goss update on Absolute Radio coming up now? Are you going to tell us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know quite a lot about him.
He's got a new single out called When Will I Be Famous Again? No, he hasn't.
Reprise.
Do you know a lot about him?
I know bits. I read I Owe You Nothing, which was Luke Goss's autobiography.
Oh, that's the brother, right?
And and it was established in that they didn't know the difference between net and gross, which is how they lost their money.
Okay.
But Matt Goss says in the foreword, this is, I believe, a great book. But they went to America and became sort of movie stars or something.
And the drummer, apparently, or is it the guitarist, the one who wasn't a brother, is the manager of Pink.
Yes.
Is that right?
Which is a gay club in Vauxhall, I don't know if you know. It's lovely in there. A lot of fake fur. And there was footage of Matt Goss at a recent... Well, I've got more Matt Goss... Gossip, I'm calling it.
Gossip?
I'm really pleased with that.
Can we call this section of the show the Goss?
Yeah, I don't think that we've reached the Matt finish. Blimey, I'm on fire. What a terrible moment to have to break off for music. I might never be this funny again this morning.
Frank Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a missive in, and the subject line is The Bride of Satan at Glastonbury.
Okay.
Hi Frank, the Divine Emily and the Strutting Cockerel.
Nice.
Strutting?
Oh, he struts.
Oh, yeah.
If any more proof is needed that Catherine Jenkins is a force of evil, then here you go. He then provides a link, which shows a picture of Catherine Jenkins at Glastonbury. There is quite frankly...
Sacrificing a goat.
There is quite frankly nothing worse than endless coverage of what celebs attend music festivals, especially Glastonbury. And that email is from Michael.
Yeah, why do they do that?
I don't know.
And why do celebrities think if we have Wellingtons on, we'll look like we really know what we're doing at a festival?
And a plastic cup with beer in it.
Yeah.
Glasto.
Always sunglasses as well.
Glasto.
Yeah.
That's what people say in it, Glasto. You know,
Ironic
it's
that it's called Glasto, and yet people have plastic cups with beer in it. Should be called plastic cocktail. Eh?
I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm not at Glasto.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm glad you're not as well. Because otherwise it'd just be an empty chair and we'd be saying, where's Emily gone? Apparently she's gone to Glasgow. She should have said something. It's a bit bad to just go. Anyway, there'll be people. In fact, I saw a tweet yesterday that said, I've just got a smile from Frank Skinner at Glastonbury.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You got back quick.
Yeah, I wonder, how did that work? That was some sort of holiday. That would be Graham Norton, I imagine.
At Glasto.
Yeah, I can see him in one of the tents.
Can you? You should... that cam setup you've got is getting out of hand. So anyway, I looked up Matt Goss, and there was footage of him performing in Vegas.
No.
Did you watch?
In Vegas?
No.
Can I say I love the idea of Frank with his feet up, cup of tea, watching Matt Goss, bit grainy, footage on YouTube.
No, it wasn't. It was very... He had a trilby on stage, and
That's
then there
'cause of
was...
the hair.
And then there was... Well, I didn't
Have
know
you seen
about
the
that.
hair?
I haven't
Has it
seen...
gone?
It's going.
Oh, going.
But there was an interview with him then. He's still got the trilby on, so I thought...
Oh, right, yeah.
All right. All right. This was the thing with God rest their souls, the Bee Gees, is that all
Yeah.
the different ways of dealing with baldness. One had a weave, didn't he? And one wore a trilby.
Yeah.
And the other one was the control. He was covered in hair. But anyway, I'll tell you what, it had clips of his gig. And this woman who I met on the South Bank was very... I mean, I have much respect. He's still got a nice voice, and he's a lovely-looking lad.
Oh, he works out.
I mean, in a hat. But he was doing... he was covering a few songs, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how many originals they've got. He did... he was doing Superstition by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, he loves his soul.
And... I think Catherine Jenkins would love his soul if she could get her hands on it. For years, I've been unsure of what does Stevie Wonder say before he says superstition. It sounds to me like Berries. Berries superstition. What does he say? Berries superstition.
Well,
There's
it's
texting.
funny you should say that. Because
Do you know?
I've always wondered whether it's there is or very. But then I thought his grammar would be appalling if he was very superstition.
Yeah, that's rubbish. Oh, there is superstition.
Which one is it?
It's not going to... why would he saying that? Does he mean that there is
What
superstition?
about Mary superstition?
Mary's... Oh, it's like a greetings card.
Yes.
Very superstition and...
Catherine
Happy New
Jenkins
Year.
would say that.
Is it a bloke he knows? Barry Superstition. Is he
Could
saying
be.
Barry Superstition?
Very superstition. Perhaps he just needs... I can't go straight into the main word. I just need a vocal warm-up. You know I'll do my... You know that... I do? Yeah, but don't do it on... No, it'll be fine. Why don't you trust me, you people? We're over here. I know where you are. Okay. And it's superstition. I'm not sure, Stevie. It'll be fine. He's quite
Stevie
difficult.
Wonder's turned into some strange agent.
He's quite difficult to work with, Stevie, apparently. So, anyway, he did that. Very superstitious.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
It's very superstitious. We nearly said it in unison.
Which
then.
would have been very
No.
superstitious in
Oh,
itself.
jinx.
So it's not even saying superstition at that stage.
No, he says it's very superstitious. Well, I'm saying it's 016.
What's very
It's texted-
superstitious?
The writing on the wall.
That's not superstitious, is it?
No.
Depends what the writing is. Here
Does
it's
he mean
absolute
suspicious?
radio.
I bet he's one of
I
those
think he
people who
means
means suspicious.
I think
That's
it's
very
like
suspicious.
when All Saints wrote that song and said a few questions that I need to know, and they meant a few answers that I need to know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got it wrong.
I mean, someone should say, do they not have grammarians at the studio? They step in and say, excuse me, but...
They ought to.
No, but Stevie shouts at them if his personality is anything like you previously implied.
He's tricky. That's
Yeah.
what they call him, Tricky Stevie Wonder.
Ah.
Yeah, he used to be Little Stevie Wonder, didn't he?
Hang on, where does this leave Tricky? Tricky, the actual, Tricky.
Well, that's why he had to stop calling him Tricky
right.
Stevie Wonder. Tricky took him to court.
Didn't.
Yeah,
he didn't.
he did. He said this is... he said it was going to be Berris expensive. I went through it. Berris is a word that I think is exclusive to him, and it's an intensifying adverb.
Nice.
Like we might use very or extremely. He says Berris. So anyway, let's
Matt
not
Goss.
stray too far from
Matt
Matt
Goss.
Goss. It was very much a case of that they were there for the lady. I don't think the bloke was a big Matt Goss fan.
Not a brossette.
It's
he have-
difficult.
I was a bit of a brossette.
You know, when
Did he have
you
Grolsch
was
bottle
you?
tops on his shoes? And
No, he didn't have any.
None of
I
that.
forgot about that.
Oh, I did that. I
haven't-
loved
I haven't
it.
forgotten about these.
But I
things.
always went for Craig, the drummer, because it was a kind of game theory thing where I thought I'll go for the one that no one else is going for. Better chance.
Okay, I don't say that in the context of Newman and Baddiel later in the show, will you? Were they albinos, the Gosses?
I don't think they were. I
They
don't think they were, and I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it in this country, is it? Or
have the look of albinos to me. Don't make
Are
them
you
bad
from
people.
Texas?
No, but that's how you say
An
it.
albino
He just
boy.
declared the Bros were albinos.
No, you must admit they have the look of albinos. I think that's why he was wearing a trilby. He doesn't dazzle the audience with with reflections. But I respected this. But have you ever? I think I don't know if I spoke about it on the show before. But it's always one of the main differences between men and women. Relax.
Oh, God.
Well, no, this is one that one of the ones that is often spoken about or drawn on walls is that blokes can really fancy a pop star, and they're happy with that. That'll do them. Just looking at pictures of them and stuff. Women, if they really fancy a pop star, they go and buy the records.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that because you like what they look like.
Yeah.
The One Direction, people buying One Direction. I understand, by the way, that Harry Styles, I read today, has got 38.6 million followers on Twitter.
Well, we love the whole person. You're able to separate their physical appearance.
But if you think Harry Styles is beautiful, and I admit you've got an argument there, get some pictures of him, but don't buy the albums. What are you doing? And I'm not saying this woman has fallen into that trap, but I think she may have. I mean, I like the loyalty of it, though. It's a good thing. I mean, whenever Bob Dylan tours, and he's touring again this year, I always go and see him. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible every time. Terrible.
Yeah.
Not only is he terrible, but he takes songs that I love and he murders. He utterly he spits in the face of those songs.
On the plus side, though, he looks great.
Yeah.
Something
He
to
looks-
look at. He's
he
eye
looks
candy.
great.
I mean,
Does
it's
he
all
wear-
about image with him.
Does he wear a trilby? No. But the thing is, he used to be, brilliant. But I still go. It's like you keep going to see Grandma even though she doesn't know who you are. it's that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
people are getting angry now about very
superstitious.
Yeah.
It's very superstitious, I think.
That is apparently the answer.
Yeah.
We've also had a naysayer saying, well, at least I think he's a naysayer, and I think it's a he. 281 has texted, I fancy Lana Del Rey, and I bought 2 albums by her. I am 40. So maybe he's saying,
I like I am 40.
do buy.
That's
I
the
think
follow-up to I am Spartacus.
I would save that, because we might be glad of that in court. Okay, so
Well, you've been
she's very beautiful, Lana Del Rey, but I can see a picture of her. I don't want to listen to that sort of stuff.
No, but that's you, darling. But 281 is saying he doesn't feel similarly.
281. I keep a daily journal, and at the end of every night, I make a note of what I've read in bed before I go to sleep.
Right.
I don't know why, but I do. I'm currently reading Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Ray Bradbury, and I noticed the last few entries in my diary say, in bed with 451. That's going to be found in years to come, by archivists of this radio show. And they'll think, well, I wonder who that was.
You know, we've been talking about obsessive fans. Well, I'd like to get onto the subject of memorabilia, because Pete Doherty... I don't know if you guys heard about this.
I did hear about this. Was that serious?
He's got some memorabilia. He says it's not exactly Van Gogh's Sunflowers, but he's got cigarette butts, he says, belonging to Kate Moss and Amy Winehouse, which he'd like to sell.
I've got vomit belonging to Alan Cochrane in the
He
back
says
of my throat now.
He's
That's
also
disgusting.
got Christmas wrapping paper that Steve Agrizovich,
Oh, yes.
the
Former-
old keeper...
Yeah.
Who did he play for again?
Play for Coventry. That
Yes,
was one of the
that's it.
teams, I think.
He said he once sent to the guy from Black Sabbath. I don't know...
Well, that's worth having.
Well, they were known pen pals, weren't they? Steve Agrusovic and the guy from Black Sabbath.
I wonder if one could verify that
Yeah, it's all-
Kate Moss has smoked that cigarette.
It's all about
Or
provenance.
that
as they
Oggy
say
had
on
opened that...
Heathrow
had
show.
received that paper.
I mean, a signed letter of provenance by Pete Doherty.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I've got memorabilia.
Still, he sold
Have you?
worse things.
I've got a letter written to me by Arthur Miller when I was 13 years
What?
old.
No way.
What?
Do you not know that?
Arthur Miller?
Yes!
Blimey!
Dear-
You
Dearest
contacted
Emily.
letters of note about
No, I
this.
should do. I love it. It's one of my prized
Amazing.
possessions.
Why did he write to you?
Because a friend of mine's father was directing him in a play. Well, it isn't everyone's with that age. And then, I said, I really like Arthur Miller. Other kids like Andrew Ridgely. I liked Arthur Miller when I was
Yeah.
that age. And she said, do you want his autograph? And then he wrote me this lovely long letter.
Well,
Wow.
that's fantastic.
It's
Is
nearly
he still
as...
going? He's dead, isn't he, Arthur Miller?
Yeah.
He's not doing Vegas in a hat.
Frank Bruno gave me an autograph. It said, Dear Emma, best wishes, F. Bruno. I've got that.
It didn't say F. Bruno.
It did. Dear Emma, best wishes, F. Bruno.
Well, that's I think you've taken us literally from one extreme to the other. Arthur Miller and Frank Bruno is Michael. That's brilliant. You must tell me more about the Arthur Miller.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Where were we?
We were discussing memorabilia and the fact that I'd trumped you all with a letter from Arthur Miller.
I've got a letter from Alan Bennett.
Oh, that has trumped me.
No, it hasn't. I don't think.
Really?
Because he's still alive. You see, you can still get one from him.
Okay.
It's
nice.
the dead that really rake in on the money on the memorabilia.
Didn't know this was a financial top trumps of memorabilia.
No, I wouldn't. Basically, I don't know what I was thinking of, but I wrote to Alan Bennett and says, "Hey, do you fancy, writing something together?"
Did you?
Oh, that's so
What was I
sweet.
thinking of?
And
I said, you probably don't know who I am, but I'm a comedian, and I thought, you can sort of come up with a character. I'll gag it up a bit.
how did that project go?
He wrote back a very nice letter saying, of course I know who you are, but I'm not very good at working with other people. I'm a bit grumpy. It was a really very sweet letter.
That's
I
nice.
can't believe my naivete. If I could have any memorabilia, I'd like that that big statue of Saddam Hussein that got pulled over.
That'd be good.
Well,
Yeah.
the one that had the
Have you got-
flip-flops.
Yeah. I know there's a bit of dent in
They
it.
went mental with the
Yeah,
flip-flops.
there's a bit of
Have you got-
flip-flop damage.
Have you got room for it? And am I right in thinking you live on the 11th floor?
No, but I'm thinking we've got to get a house with a garden eventually for the baby.
Be good.
I'll
for
put
the-
it in the garden.
Be lovely in the garden.
Get some of that soft flooring for when you're climbing and playing on there.
Did the head come off, though?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. It was a clean sweep.
No, they brought him. He was sort of, he tipped up, he tipped up from the base. But I think it'd be a great reminder, wouldn't it? If you woke up in the morning, open your bedroom, bear in mind, say if I'm sleeping on the 3rd floor in the house, when I open it, you'll basically be looking in at me,
Yeah.
Saddam. And
That
I
would
hope
be terrifying every day, wouldn't it?
No, because I'll open the curtains and I'll think to myself, it's a great way to start the day, I'll think to myself, Frank, enjoy yourself while you can.
Before you're toppled.
Yeah.
Sort of
And that'd be-
Ozymandias.
it would. At Christmas, you can put a
Frank
big,
Skinner is
get a
Ozymandias.
big beard on it. Get a do.
You can't put a beard on a Saddam Hussein statue.
You can at Christmas.
He did towards
your
the end,
garden.
didn't he?
That's what the victory was all about. So that's what. If I could have any memorabilia, that would be it.
Well, you might want this other bit that's just come in.
We've had a text. Hi, Frank. My mother's manager, she's the manager of an Oxfam shop, has been donated a limited edition John Wayne pocket watch with protective case. Would you like it? From Paul near Dartford.
Would I like it?
Would he ever? That's my...
False side. That'd go a treat with my cuckoo clock.
We bought, just FYI readers, we bought John collectively. It was collective responsibility. A John Wayne cuckoo clock.
Yes, and I've also got a John Wayne belt buckle with a shot of him from
that's a bit-
Chisholm
That's a bit sleazy.
on it. No, I said Chisholm, which is a film of his. And no, I'm not that avid a collector. But no, that'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely so brilliant.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text saying you could get a John Wayne alarm clock that wakes you up saying, I've come for my boy.
You do not.
Apparently you could. Or maybe it's someone suggesting you could.
Yeah.
You could try.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. John
There's a
Wayne
cracking
alarm
bit
clock.
of memorabilia as well, 338. I've got a photo of me and Eddie the Eagle at the Idle Home exhibition from about 1991. Definitely a treasured possession. That's from Craig in Sussex.
He asked my girlfriend out.
Eddie the Eagle or
Yeah.
Craig from Sussex?
No, Eddie the Eagle did.
He didn't.
Yeah, she knocked him back. But I saw him. He was on All Star Family. No, what's it? All Star
Oh, yeah.
Mr. and Mrs.
Was he?
He was on that.
With your
What was
girlfriend?
he asking
No.
the cap out for then?
No,
Filthy
this.
quiz.
Well, no, this
Player's gonna play.
It's a long time ago.
Okay.
It was downhill all the way in the skiing community. But no, they said he was on All
Say
Star.
Alan's defence of him, players gone play. Sorry, Frank, that's you.
He was on All Star, Mr. and Mrs. And Phil Schofield says, so you also, as well as doing, appearances on stuff like this, you're also a plasterer, aren't you? And he says, yeah, I'm still work as a plasterer. And I thought, well, you're an all-star, Mr. and Mrs., and you're a plasterer. That doesn't make any sense, does it? I'm sorry if there's any plasterers listening. Oh, God bless you, but all-star, a plasterer.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, which you may have guessed, on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. Lots of you have. And I must say, it's been a rich crop this morning.
Oh, yeah.
You can follow
Has it
us.
been a Roy crop?
You can. Is that based on.
Roy Cropper.
I thought it was based on Reichsop, the Scandinavian.
It's based on Roy Cropper.
You can follow us on the Twitter, Frank on the Radio, or email us through the Absolute website, www.
Nick Ilsley has tweeted us. We had a question last week asking if Sandy Wall, the newsreader, was in fact your mother-in-law.
Yes,
And
it's a misunderstanding, because my mother-in-law is called Sandy, but it's not Sandy Wall.
Sandy Mason.
It is.
But Nick Ilsley, he won't let it lie. He says, I wonder if Sandy Wall mother-in-law might be a new Viz character. I like it.
I would like to see just at least one strip of that.
I think if Fizz are listening, can you get working on it?
That would be... they might be listening, you never know.
We've also had an email in, actually last night, but it works on several levels.
Last night, Barry's gonna be super... Barry's superstition is the Welsh clairvoyant.
We've been discussing...
I don't know if Barris is a Welsh name, but it ought to be.
Yeah, but Barris is a name, isn't it?
Neris is a
Beresford.
Welsh name.
Barris isn't the name, is it?
Yes, it is.
No,
My daughter's bus driver... my niece's bus driver is called Beres. Beresford.
Your niece's bus driver.
The school
She's got her
bus.
own bus.
Oh,
Oh,
the school bus. Beresford.
Beres.
okay, I didn't know that.
Every day's a school day.
When Beres is driving.
This is very good. Mugs and more.
But if he sees a black cat on the street, he'll stop the bus immediately.
Is that right?
It's a Barris superstition.
Very good.
Please
Shall I
carry on.
continue?
Please do.
Hi, Frank, lovely Emily, and the AC. Not sure about that. Rob Long, time listener here, former owner of the Top Cat coin,
Oh, yes, I've got the Top Cat coin mounted.
intrigued over the mugs debate over the last few weeks. We've been discussing mugs that we love. It's a strange show. So much so I hit the web, asked Jeeves for a better insight. Yes, enter Skinner mug. Up comes you and the lovely Miss M looking guilty and youthful. Scroll down a little more.
Guilty
you
and
come up-
youthful, how often those two go hand in hand.
Scroll down a little more and you come up with Peterborough United's website, which offer a picture of Frank on anything you want. My favourite...
What?
The photo jigsaw. A 300-piece jigsaw puzzle, 17 by 12. The jigsaw is delivered bagged on a backboard, making a superb gift. Also supplied are a resealable bag, a photo example of the image, and a self-assemble flat-pack box for storage. This item will be shipped from our UK lab. What a gift. Frank in 300 bits. That is all.
But this is from the Peterborough United website.
I can't believe it either, but he's
Something
put a
dodgy.
link, and it's
Dodgy
real.
going on there. Really?
Yeah.
I must check this out.
Well, you must buy a 300-bit photograph jigsaw of yourself.
Well, they must owe me something. I've got no image rights. I mean, when David Beckham was at Real Madrid, he used to make a fortune from the stuff they sold in the club
Just-
shop with him on.
I heard he ran his car just off the jigsaws.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a text. Hey Frank, the lady with the sexy voice and the cockerel. I know. Matt Goss was in Blade 2 and was a good actor in it.
Okay.
Oh, is that the Wesley Snipes one?
Love your show, Stuart from Marple, as in Mrs. Marple. I like places as in places.
Places as in people.
Yes.
Oh, he was in Blade. I haven't seen Blade 2.
No.
Oh,
haven't
I don't
seen
think
Blade
he
1, I don't
acts. He sings. He's
What a career.
the milliner's friend, as well, he's known as in the business.
I think it's time we discuss Jeffrey Osborne. We haven't discussed him this week.
Now, in case you don't know, Jeffrey Osborne is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who you may know as George, but he was called Jeffrey by Barack Obama accidentally, and we've decided to stick with it.
He's called Jeffrey now. But he's embarrassed himself again.
Has he bungled?
Oh, lovely!
Actually, not since he was at Eton.
He wasn't actually at Eton, was he?
Was he not?
No, everyone thinks
Can
he
I
was.
just say I was told by someone very posh recently that you don't mention Eton's name. You say, did you school?
Wow.
Is that
Yeah.
right? Did you school?
But he got into hot water over this thing, foodstagramming. Do you know what this... I know you don't like the internet, Frank, but do you know what that is?
I saw this picture, not on the internet, but I saw it in the paper. I like the internet.
Okay.
I don't look at it as much as I used to.
Okay.
I took a vow.
Eddie.
But I saw that picture of him supposedly working through the night on
It was
his,
a bit, I'm a man of the
speech.
people, just a regular guy having a
I
burger.
thought he was trying to make himself look like he was Ernest Hemingway or something.
Yes.
He was like hunched over these pages. They don't even write their own speeches, do they, politicians?
Nah.
So it was a bit programme associates.
Yes.
You know, someone someone who writes the jokes, but then they're not allowed to be put as writers in case people think the comedian doesn't write the jokes.
It's a bit Singing in the Rain, all that. But he...
Yes.
So he's hunched over the burger and chips, but then it backfired because it emerged that the burger wasn't just a Mackie D's. It was £6.75 from Byron, $2.95 for the chips. So you're looking at a tenner for this burger and chips. And
we paid for that.
Well, exactly. It's
But
our
his
burger.
defence, people said, "Oh, you know, why didn't you go to McDonald's?" And he said, "McDonald's don't deliver," and I was working late, overlooking the fact that Byron don't deliver either.
No, he told a lie. Isn't there
Alan's gone forensic, and I love him for that.
don't they have to resign if they're caught telling a lie? I thought that was the whole thing.
I feel a bit sorry for him, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I just think...
Because he never had the courgette fries, is that...
He wasn't having a swan sandwich. He was
No.
having a dirty burger.
If you had a swan
not a dirty
sandwich, you'd
burger,
have
they're
it on a hot dog bat, wouldn't you? to contain the throat.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
If he'd have had Mackie D's, they would have complained. They would have been
but
said,
I
"You're
don't
promoting
like-
this chain."
But why do politicians want to look like they're ordinary people? I don't want them to be ordinary people. I want them to be cleverer than I am because they're running the country.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have had, instead of a Byron burger, if you'd have had the complete works of Byron,
Yeah.
then you'd have thought, this is a bloke, he's wise, he's got an active brain. I'm
Yeah.
glad he's helping to run the country. But he wants us to think, oh, you're just like us. Great, everyone I know, how many of them would I want to run the country? None.
No.
Thanks a lot.
Well,
He also, I was worried about his liquid consumption, Frank. He had a Diet Coke, a coffee, and a water.
2 Diet Coke.
2 DCs.
Yeah, I think apparently when he's
diuretic.
working late on a speech, he wears the rubber pants. Doesn't even, he hasn't got time to get up. And he does back and front in there until he's finished.
Does he?
He's a very, very dedicated professional. But he's not writing the Gettysburg Address, is he? I mean, that speech
Oh.
that he did was, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that.
It was basically cut this and cut that, wasn't it? And
It wasn't government of the people, for the people, was it by the people, for the people?
why is he doing it that late either? I mean, like, he knows he's going to cut. Why is he...
Get it ready earlier.
Yeah, start earlier, finish earlier. I don't believe that he was working late doing that.
I wonder
Just
if he
You're
had...
such haters, you two.
Not a hater, just a disbeliever.
Do you think he has bastarnados for breakfast?
Pardon?
I believe, if I remember rightly, that's a line from a Byron poem.
Oh, is it?
Bastarnados is when you
It's
get...
illegal in some countries.
Yeah, well, it is. It is, because it's what it is. It's hitting people on the sole of the feet with
Like
like
Saddam
a
Hussein.
baton.
Yeah.
And they used to do. I think he was in prison for some reason, Byron, or maybe it was just his character in the poem was in prison. And
He
it
was
said
in prison.
bastarnados for breakfast. Did he have bastarnados for breakfast?
I don't know.
I think he had a club foot as well. Can you still say that? Is that like a foot that comes
No,
in
I
3
know.
layers with bacon?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about George Osborne ordering his burger from Byron.
Jeffrey?
Gideon. Apparently he sees the Byron menu as like a Gideon's Bible. We've had a text in from Ian Angel.
Oh, he's a regular.
He provides some of the better puns that we receive, and he's saying, let's let Byrons be Byrons.
That's tremendous.
Very good.
I like that.
Strong work.
We've also had a text in. Hi, team. Eton is known as Slough Grammar to Old Etonians.
Is that right? That's where I love all that little secret, all their little ways.
And a point of order, it was actually Luke Goss in Blade 2, but I can understand the mistake, they do look alike.
That's because they're albinos. I think there might have been one in the Da Vinci. So Matt Goss, we were all saying, we were scoffing at him, but in fact, I didn't know.
Wrongly.
Albinos tend to be criminals in films, and I
Could
think
be.
that's wrong.
That's wrong, though. I mean, if I got the Doctor Who job,
Yes, if.
and then people in 20 years' time are saying, of course, our Keith was brilliant as Doctor Who,
Yeah.
I'd be miffed about
Miffed. Rightly miffed.
I'd be delighted.
Hi, Frank, Miss M and the
it. I'd
Cockerel.
be slightly delighted, actually.
Hi, Frank, Miss M and the Cockerel. I've been listening for ages now, and I think it's about time you stopped saying, for those new listeners, what we are talking about is... I think it's about time you gave no consideration to new listeners and just allowed them to catch up, as us regulars are receiving less of a show as we are having to put up with topic repetition for all the newbies from aggrieved of Tunbridge Wells.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point, well made.
If I start to do that again, stop me.
For new listeners, we do often read out... No.
No. We don't have any new listeners anyway, do we?
No, we don't.
So I don't know what we're talking about. I only say, to be honest, aggrieved, to sound as if we're evolving. In fact, we're like a stagnant pond.
I think we're about to go to email corner, but first I just thought I might go to breaking financial news corner. We've just had a text in. Maybe it should be suspect breaking financial news. To my knowledge, the burger chain Byron are about to be sold for £100 million or more.
Blimey.
This stunt by Osborne smells fishy. And you pillocks have just spent 30 minutes giving Byron free publicity.
Can I say I love being a pillock?
Can I say, the fact that we're pillocks and it smells fishy sounds to me like this might be someone trying to plug the fishing industry.
Indeed. Well, they actually have mistyped and it says fishing instead of fishy. I was just correcting it
Nick
rather than
Nick
attacking
Clegg
it.
this week was asked about
Yes,
this thing, and
he
he
was.
said, I like Byron burgers as well, so
No.
maybe there is something weird going on.
Wow. But everyone likes them. I mean, it's the only thing I've got in
Now
common.
we're
don't
going to
know,
be
you're
called a
after
pillock
three.
again. Now you're being a pillock.
I prefer the Keats burgers. I find them more lyrical.
Well, I'm a Longfellow, so
I've heard that.
I'm a Coleridge.
I've got a really big appetite.
Yes.
Frank 572. Frank, getting back to Stevie Wonder's lyrics, was Matt Goss singing hairy superstitious when in Vegas? Regretful that he's now so follically challenged.
Yes.
It all makes sense.
My trilby is suspicious. You're wondering if I'm bald. Actually, I'm albino. Or so-called.
You have lots of corners. What shape is your studio? Well, you're right. We're about to go to...
You're right, we're going to get to one of those corners now. Various corners. We are in Email Corner, where we read a selection of our readers' emails.
Oh, can you stop? Because I'm still laughing. You're all so cool.
Hello all. My mum used to tell me stories about how she would find me in the middle of the night after having sleepwalked downstairs.
In the middle of the night, go walking in my sleep.
Tune.
Didn't you not call him
Tune.
Billy Joel last week?
I did call him
Yes.
Billy Joel.
He went a bit
I've
piano
stayed,
man, Frank.
I've stayed pretty loyal to Billy Joel. If I had any Billy Joel memorabilia, I'd be pretty pleased.
Would
When you said Billy
Yeah.
Joel, it reminded me of the letter I got addressed to Emma Lee Dean, L-E-E. Anyway, as you were.
Billy Joel, the piano man. Go walking
In the
my
middle of the
sleep.
night, after having sleepwalked downstairs to sit in front of the television, even though it was switched off, I was never sure I believed her until I was in my early 20s and would lock my bedroom door at night with a bolt on the inside and then wake up to find it unlocked. I also used to occasionally find...
Done.
That happened to me when I went away with the Arsenal team.
I also used to occasionally
I've
find...
heard some euphemisms in my life.
I also used to occasionally find I'd taken a loaf of bread out of the freezer. I don't do it anymore. Maybe I grew out of it. Or maybe it's because my husband leaves his shoes in the middle of the bedroom floor for me to trip over. So my subconscious has got a survival mode.
Frank,
That's a
that's
nice
a
thought,
literal
isn't it?
nightmare for me, that I dream I'm taking a loaf of bread out of the freezer.
I mean, imagine that. What if you woke up and you'd
And I'd eaten it.
eaten a
Bread.
loaf of bread? I don't know what you'd do with yourself.
I think that would be
I'd end
good.
my life.
But if you took a loaf of bread out and then also perhaps like some cheese and a knife and sliced it, you could make your butties for the next day at work if you were...
Suggesting I have some paysan supper, like some strange impressionist artist.
I meant you as in not you, I meant a
Oh,
person,
one. Okay.
listener, like...
You're
they could-
making the somnambulist sound like it's a good thing.
Yeah, if they were to make their sandwiches
Our
for the
Terry
next
locked
day...
himself outside completely naked when he was sleepwalking.
Terry?
Our Terry did.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know, I can't picture our Terry doing that.
Well, I hope you can't. And if you do picture it, get out.
But the husband leaving his shoes in the middle of the floor, that's good of him in many ways.
Well, I had to leave my shoes by the front door because My girlfriend has put a ban now on shoes in the house. After long years, whenever I've been to people's houses and they've said, do you mind taking your shoes off, I've always thought, I'm never coming here again. And now
you
in my
become
own
shoes off
own home, because the baby crawls all over the place, we don't want him to get dog mess blindness, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
DMB. The DMB threat has made me shoeless in my own home. Shoeless Jackson.
Just so you know, Alison Hall says she prefers an Ezra quarter pounder with cheese.
Oh.
An Ezra.
Ezra quarter pounder with
Oh,
cheese. Do you get it?
I do get it. Yes, that's it's a bit more modernist than I was anticipating.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
It's still an email corner, Frank.
We are. Before
Pretty
we
much.
move on, can I just say that the previous email that we were discussing was from Lindsay, because I don't want her to have sent it in and not be named. It'd
Lindsay, well, I might have done her a favour, because I don't know, if I was a sleepwalker, if there was a local murder, wouldn't you be thinking, I wonder if that was me?
Yeah, it's good that that locals now can get possibly Lindsay.
Yeah, I think she should be at least questioned. I mean, probably under hypnosis. But it's true, you don't know what you're doing, you're walking about, you're taking loaves out. Yeah, you know, you could just as easily kill someone or take a frozen loaf out of a freezer.
That's right, I still don't believe it.
I think you're more likely to kill someone than take a loaf out. Okay, what
Is it
else?
time? This is from Gemma. She says, Dear Frank...
I don't think I could do it, because when I get up I don't know about you, when I get up in the morning, I mean, I have about 10 minutes of just searing pain through the back and legs,
Yeah.
which would wake me up, see, if I was sleepwalking.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
I
fail-safe.
still don't believe in sleepwalking,
No, is
despite all these missives.
Is it like me and fainting? You just
Yeah, I
it's-
just think it's attention-seeking. I love our listeners, but I'm sorry.
I don't believe in hypnosis.
No, I don't either.
I tell you see people hypnotised, right, on the...
What about when those magicians, Frank, get them on stage?
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
believe that?
No, definitely not. There was one, I can't remember, I think it was somebody like... I don't think it was Darren Brown, it was somebody
Paul
else.
Lennon.
Maybe. I don't know who it was. I don't
Yeah,
want
we
to
won't name it.
It was on the telly, though, and this bloke was in a shop window. They put him to bed in a shop window, but they told me he was in his flat.
Uh-huh.
And then when he woke up next morning, he's saying, hey, all these people looking in. He said, what are you doing looking through the windows of my flat?
Oh.
What are you And I thought, you know, if you wake up and there's someone looking through the window of your flat, you don't say, what are you doing looking through the windows of my flat? Because we know where you are and what they're doing. You're doing that for the viewer. So you're not hypnotised. So if anyone tells you they've been... if anyone has been hypnotised properly and it worked and they thought they were a chicken, not it just relax you and you stop smoking, but if you thought you were a chicken or you ate a raw onion, do text us, because you might convince me that it's real.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can we return to email corner, please?
Okay, in Marcana.
Bit loose. Gemma says, Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, I've been listening to the podcast since you started on Absolute and frequently think of things to email you about, but never get round to it. So this time I remembered. You were asking why horses can't have chocolate. It's because of a chemical in chocolate that is poisonous to horses and dogs, and it's called theobromine.
Dogs? When we had dogs, they basically lived on chocolate.
Yeah.
And then died.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They lived on chocolate and it was the best 3 weeks I've ever had in my life.
To be fair, you also used to just let the dogs out to run riot. You didn't walk them.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
It is also a
Hold
band...
on a minute. What about peanut butter?
Okay.
Because...
That and other questions.
You know Mr.
What
Ed?
about peanut butter? Yes.
You know Mr. Ed, the talking
I'm
horse?
familiar with his work.
They used to put peanut butter on the roof of his mouth to make him eat, like lick his mouth and move his lips about, so then they could dub the
Is
voice.
that true? Is that like one
Yeah.
of those PG tips, urban myths? Is that true?
No, that's...
Okay.
I don't know about the PG. What did they do?
I
with the
don't
monkey?
want to discuss that.
Tell us off
Okay.
air.
It is also this drug. Notice how I say that in a very disparaging tone.
Yeah.
It is also a banned substance in horse racing as it acts as a muscle stimulant. Oh, I like the sound of that. And diuretic. I work with racehorses. That's how I know this.
Okay.
Changing the subject.
What, in an office?
There is a siren that goes off in Teddington, London every Tuesday at 9 a.m. It's an old air raid siren, but is now used as a chlorine alarm for the waterworks in Hampton. There is a large chlorine store there, and if it got out, the sirens would go off. You're meant to run for your life if you hear it. I hope this was interesting. Keep up the work, not a compliment.
Well, it was interesting. I wish I could
interesting.
explain why she's mentioned sirens, but that would upset the one from that person who doesn't want me to explain anything to new readers.
I know.
So, yes, it isn't. I think we could go on a siren tour, maybe, of places where they have, you know, we could time it specifically. The Sirens of Britain.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It sounds like it could be a late-night telly show as well.
I'm up for it. Yeah, I bet our listeners can think of a good punning title. if we travelled around the country just in time to hear sirens going off, it would be like being Odysseus of old.
What about the sound of sirens?
Oh, that's it. Forget your entries.
Afterwards,
it's one.
Frank, afterwards,
Got it,
we
I'll-
have a text called Hypnosis a Confession.
First, the commercials.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. I mean, go on, it's fine. Or you can follow us on the Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show through the Absolute Radio website. David Baddiel is in the building.
Well, I know I've left him some banana bread, because I don't think he'll be best pleased if we scoffed it all.
Yum, yum.
No, I think he's on a diet, but we'll find out when he comes on.
Yeah, but he says that.
comes
But
on
last time he said that, he had 4 brandy Alexanders. That's another story.
That was the Brandy Alexandra diet. It's rigorous.
He said, I'm on very strict Atkins, and then he drunk 4 brandy Alexanders.
I don't. Well, we'll come to this.
Okay.
I'm sure.
I don't know what to say.
Sure, there's
Is
an
that-
innocent
I
explanation.
don't know. Is there any meat in a? Oh, it's not. You're all right with meat, aren't you? If you're on the
Yeah.
Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
We were discussing, well, it was something of a controversy, a bit of a hot topic, Frank Skinner, you've created this morning.
Hypnosis.
You say it's rubbish and it doesn't exist.
And that is, yes. I think you could possibly, you could relax people and get rid of their fear of spiders or something is possible. But people who suddenly think they're on their holidays on stage and all that rubbish.
Well, you expressly asked if people thought there'd been a chicken to text in,
Yeah.
which, given that I'm nicknamed the Cockerel on this show, I thought was just lining up my replacement, and I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah, that'd be.
We've had
I want to stick with poultry.
We've
had an email
not
in-
text.
If it ain't fixed.
from
or something like that.
a police officer, so I think we should go to him first.
Oh, okay.
He says, Steve says, Frank, I'm a police officer, and several years ago...
I hate it when people start a sentence like that. Who is it? I'm a police officer. Carry on.
Several years ago, we had an Xmas do, and the bloke doing his bit trying to hypnotise people managed to get me under,
Oh.
but I bluffed everyone and pretended the whole way through, including the carrot bit. Sorry. I don't like the sound of the carrot bit.
No, I don't like the sound of that. But that, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Well, you say case closed, but we've had a text saying 525 has texted saying it does work. I know. I do it on people. Anyone can be hypnotised.
Yeah, but if you're a hypnotist, you've got to say that.
He
Well,
sounds
that's
like
what
he
he's
might
saying.
need to help the police with their inquiries.
Are you going to believe
I do it on
Are you going to
people.
believe this person over a police officer?
What about 134? I shared your view, Frank, until my brother got done by Paul McKenna. Call me. Call me is in caps. Just FYI.
No, but that's the brother, isn't it? So it's all right. You don't know. I mean, are you your brother's keeper? The brother could be, he could be bluffing. Call me.
Well, I've been hypnotised a few times.
You have.
And no,
Sorry, that was so real.
and it is
Reading.
totally fake. I acted. I don't believe it. That's from Gaza.
I was hypnotised as part of the evening entertainment at a well-known health farm. There is no one more sceptical than me, but I was unable to
right?
rise from my chair, despite inwardly telling myself that I would resist it and get up. I still can't quite believe it, but it definitely happened.
Professor Stephen Hawking.
Frank Skinner,
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
David Baddiel is in the studio.
It's lovely to be here. I've got a hypnotism story that I don't know whether it'll help or confirm what you were talking about before, about whether it's true. Because you were talking about show hypnotism, weren't you? Right?
Yeah,
Because
stage hypnotism.
Yeah, I've had hypnotherapy for insomnia, which I used to have very badly. I don't have it so badly anymore. And
So it works.
No, it didn't work at all. They'd put me to sleep then, and then I'd be in bed later on, absolutely couldn't sleep. It's partly because I slept during the day. In the hypnotherapy place. Yeah, so obviously not going to work. Now, I think children cured me of insomnia because they woke me up a lot in the morning. Then I was knackered and I just had to sleep. But the hypnotherapy thing, I had it, and it definitely worked because I was so relaxed that my bladder, I didn't wee myself. No, I didn't wee myself, but I
weed somebody else.
Yes, I weed the hypnotherapist. She was furious.
What?
No, it was brilliant. It was beautiful. And I said, I'm so sorry to break the mood, because she's talking about, relaxation.
Yeah.
And I said, but I've got to get up to go to the lavatory. And this happened 4 times during the session. And by the end of it, this very calm hypnotherapist was just cross, was just angry. But it clearly worked, because it worked at a sort of physical level.
Well, yeah, but have you ever thought that you were eating an apple? In fact, you were eating a raw onion.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
Yeah.
My taste buds, they're gone.
It happens as you get older. So, before we delve deeper into your psyche, we should say that you're on the road.
Yeah, I am. I'm performing stand-up comedy again. Can you believe it, Frank?
No, I can't.
I'm doing... it's sort of been tricked into it, I feel, by life and circumstance. But I'm doing Edinburgh, basically. I'm doing 11 nights at Edinburgh with this show that I'm trying out for the last time at Soho Theatre next week.
Okay.
And then I think I'm doing a couple of dates at the Pleasance Islington. But it's a show about fame. It's a show about the sort of absurdity...
Can I say it's tailor-made for me?
It is. Well, you've seen it, haven't you?
I have, I love it.
I've seen it.
Didn't it? Can I say, I don't know if this is true or not, but you've told me it encouraged you to go back into stand-up comedy yourself.
It did. I thought,
Just to top me.
if he's got the guts to get up with that act. No, it did. It made me think, this is great. I love it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've inspired me again.
Well, I should say, when I say it's about fame, it's not about... Because when people talk about fame, sort of people
it's
who've
a bit
been...
awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's partly what it's about. It's about the awkwardness of talking about having been in the public eye. And one of the things particularly is when famous people tend to do that, they tend to surround it with the loneliness of the spotlight, the sort of roar of the crowd versus the empty hotel, all that Janis Joplin kind of grab. Mine isn't about that. Mine is about being recognised on a Ryanair flight when I'm trying to save some priority seats I haven't paid for.
Yeah.
Right? It's about the 1,000 mundane humiliations of fame. I'm going to tell you one that might be relevant that happened to me the other day that I'm thinking of including in the show. Tell me whether I should or not. I did an interview on BBC Radio, and outside BBC Radio, outside Broadcasting House, there's always these men standing around, slightly strange
the
men.
autographs men.
Autograph Johnnies, I believe they're called.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I only signed the books.
Yeah, no, I engaged in a conversation, I've got to. Yeah. So there were about 5 of these men, all about sort of 58, sort of 60, coming up to me, and one of them fights his way through the crowd going, Dave, 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 Dave. And then he hands me his book and he says, Frank's great, isn't he? And I signed it.
I think you should definitely put that in the show. What book was it? Was it one of yours or one of mine?
It was his autograph book.
It was his autobiography, I think.
Yeah. But they always have those people. They have a number of pictures of me. And often of Frank, actually. Pictures of me and Frank.
Well, in the show that I'm sort of putting together at the moment, there's a brief section about which sort of refers to me being famous, and I don't think people they don't like you talking about it. Your whole show's about it, and everyone was laughing when I talked about it. Got a bit awkward. I was pointing out the fact that someone had said to me, someone who isn't famous.
Yeah.
They were taking the mickey out of my very careful driving, which you have in the past.
Yeah, very ultra-careful old person's driving.
Like a pensioner.
Yeah.
And I said to this person, remember, I've got a lot more to lose than you have. And they took it really badly.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
But the thing is, so did the audience.
Was that on while you were on holiday in France?
No, it wasn't. Okay. It wasn't. It was one of the... It didn't happen there. I want to find out about your... current health regime as well, but we have to, because it's commercial radio, we have certain obligations on the adverts.
You go for it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
David Baddiel is in the studio.
You know, I woke up this morning and looked on Twitter, which I sometimes do, and I got a tweet saying I was trending in Canada.
Really?
And I went to check it, and the reason I was trending in Canada was because of this show. And I actually have, because this is pathetic, of course, but I went and I printed out the trending map in Canada, and I was...
Caribou, is that in there?
Caribou, no.
Okay.
What is at Baddiel, followed by at Absolute Radio, trending. So your show, presumably, is big in Canada.
Brilliant.
Which is no good to me, because I come on here to plug my Soho theatre data. No one's going to fly from Vancouver, are they? Or Edinburgh.
If people will fly from Belfast to see a showcase of Matt Goss...
Does that happen?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think they will come from
Here's
Vancouver.
the most extraordinary thing, is this map is from earlier, but I'm with a lady who works for our agency, and she went and checked it again just before I came out. I'm still top of the Canada trending list, Absolute Radio. But below that is Canada Day. I'm actually top. We've beaten Canada Day in Canada on Trending Canada.
That's an away win of some note.
I feel sorry for the lady whose job today is to check whether you're still top throughout the day.
That is a bad job. It's Canadian
moment,
as well.
It's that moment when she has to say, actually, you're not, you're not
now.
top anymore. And
A moose is now above you.
and she'll probably be in the car with you on the way back, and there'll be an awkward atmosphere because you're no longer trending in Canada. And you know how that can
Can I
hurt.
phone Pierre what's his name? Pierre...
Trudeau.
Thank you. Thank
He
you.
must
I
be
knew
dead.
you
He
did.
must be dead.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I said on Twitter, oh, God, I'm trending in Canada. Who knew? It must be because I'm on at Frank on the radio, and someone immediately tweeted back, either that or you've died. Because if you die, you trend on Twitter. But I don't think I would trend in Canada on Twitter if I died.
If you died in Canada.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly I died in Canada.
Killing their leader.
Yeah, then I might. I'll try that, shall I?
If you were shot by a bodyguard, say, as you killed their
God,
leader.
it sounds great, Frank, doesn't it?
Frank, he's eating that banana cake. Just
Banana
FYI.
cake, lovely.
So
Very nice, isn't
you are on a diet?
I'm on the 5-2 diet, Frank, which is now... I believe you were talking about my faddiness with diets earlier. I heard Emily talk about the now historic occasion where I said I was on the Atkins diet and then immediately ate 5 donuts.
And
which I
had
don't
poor
believe...
Brandy
Well,
Alexander.
I actually had 4 Brandy... I don't even know what a Brandy Alexander is. I thought that was a woman I was with once.
Brandy Alexander is what Sebastian Flight used to drink, isn't it, in Brideshead Revisited?
Is it? It's brandy and...
And I will have a Brandy Alexander. Yeah.
God, I thought it was in the room, didn't you?
Just like him.
It's brandy and cream or something. I don't remember. Obviously, I don't remember.
Well, that's 'cause
Brandy
you had 4 of
Alexander,
them, love.
No, clearly. But, there were times where I let it slide with the Atkins diet.
I went out for lunch with you once,
Oh, dear.
and you ordered potatoes and stuff, and I said, I thought you were on the Atkins. You said, I don't start it till 2 o'clock in the day.
After lunch. I only on the Atkins diet away from meal times. That's the way I do it.
So the 5-2.
5-2 is basically you can eat under, if you're a man, under 600. I go for 650. Little bonus to myself.
Okay.
2 days a week, non-consecutive days, and then other days
650 calories.
you have to eat under 650
What
calories.
is that, though? I don't know what that is.
Oh,
a
it's-
Mars bar.
Oh, I don't. Well, yeah, most people
Probably
choose
about
not to eat a
3.
Mars bar on their fast days. That would be
Okay.
quite
That's
silly.
about 150, darling. 190 a Mars bar.
Well, I've got,
Is it
you can
really?
eat like an egg for breakfast and then like a 300-calorie Weight Watchers meal for
Okay.
lunch, and then perhaps
Sounds all right. 2
turkey
days a
fillet
week.
and some... God, I feel really like we're starting the one show.
On the 5 days, you can just go crazy.
Well, that's the key to it, I think, because I was doing that, obviously. As soon as I started doing it, I was so hungry, and I get really unpleasant when I'm really hungry. I snap at the children, it's awful.
You get angry.
And so the next day, it'd be like 10 bacon sandwiches for breakfast.
Right.
Then it doesn't work if you do it like that. It says you can do that, but it doesn't work. You have to control yourself on the non-fast days.
Right.
He's looking svelte, though, Frank.
Yeah.
He is,
Yes.
but I'm worried about the 10 bacon sandwiches. I think you might be trending in Israel after this.
In a bad way.
Somewhat letting the side down.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
David Baddiel is with us.
You know what, I should say while I'm here, I am a very big fan of this show. I listen to it every week with my son as I drive him to his martial arts class in Swiss Cottage. And sometimes, because you lot sometimes really get onto a thing where you're really going with something, I sit outside Swiss Cottage Leisure Centre, and he's saying, Dad, we have to go to martial arts. And I say, no, hang on, this bit, it's getting really good here. Frank's doing one of those puns that are really worth waiting for. And so I feel that if my son gets into a fight and loses, that'll be your fault.
Oh,
because
no.
basically he'll be late for his martial arts.
He could have been a fifth Dan.
I asked him before I came out, I said, what's the bit you remember from listening week in, week out to the Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio? And he said there was a bit where you, Frank, were going on about hair for some reason, and Emily said, all right, Nicky Clark. That's the bit that I remember, yeah. It is funny.
Any reference to Nicky Clark. He does, actually, Dave Son-Esford does a very good impression of Matt Berry doing the trailer.
He does, yeah, he does. He does very Absolute Radio. He does, he's very excellent. I brought something else in, which is my mum, talking about my kids, my mum works in a hospice shop in Harrow, and she brings essentially some cake. She brought this recently, which is a commemoration play. And when I saw it, I thought that would be Princess Diana.
I recognise that.
But it is, in fact, a commemoration play for I Love My Country, the show that Frank did with Gabby Logan and Mickey Flanagan that hasn't come out yet, which is already in the hospice shop in Harrow. What's it doing?
It's not a ringing endorsement when the merch is already in a charity shop before.
It's not good, is it?
That is an incredibly bad omen, isn't it?
What I love is that my mum brought it round with a real sense of, you'll put this up on the wall.
I mean, had it been eBay, but a hospice shop, that's a bad omen.
It is, really.
Oh dear, you've ruined my morning.
Is this what people get when they come on the show?
No, it's not even. No, it's what the audience. There's like because the audience are like the teams.
Oh, I see.
So if you win your team, your audience section, get one of those plates each. And I always think,
go straight to Harrow with it.
I always think, well, you know, for these people, this would be a great gift. And they go straight to the hospice shop with it.
Sorry about that.
What I like, though, is that we were talking earlier about... Somebody emailed in about how they drink from a Baddiel and Skinner mug, wasn't it? A fantasy football one or something. But now it turns out
you could eat off this. They could eat
have
I Love
full
My Country
crockery
plate.
You could put together a 21-piece T-shirt.
Yeah, there's some unplanned cutlery knocking about somewhere.
I like the look of unplanned cutlery. No knives. We were thinking on our feet. Someone texted in, actually, asking for unplanned to come back.
Question for David and Frank, would you please bring back unplanned? We miss it, we really miss it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, they sound a bit mad.
Yeah.
That twice missing it is a bit too much.
We really miss it.
I'd love to do Unplanned again. Unplanned is the show I'd most like to do again.
No work.
With Frank Skinner, because it's no work, as he said.
Perfect.
I thought he was just saying no work, that's why you want to bring it back.
I thought that for a minute,
when he said no
and I
work,
nearly
I
killed
understand.
myself.
No, exactly.
No, but yes, it was no work, which made it a joy. It was a real laugh as well.
And you've got, you've also, I should say, can we just make this clear that you're doing the Soho Theatre this week at 7:45 in the evenings.
Yeah, from Tuesday to Saturday.
2nd to the 6th of July, and you're doing the Pleasance Islington from the 7th to the 17th.
No,
of July.
I'm just doing it once on the 7th and once again on the 17th.
Okay,
that's too much work to do it from the 7th.
And you're doing Edinburgh, you're doing...
And I'm doing the Falkirk Comedy Festival, which is called Falkirk is Funny, which, if I was Eric Morecambe, I'd say, can we say that? But it's called something like that, yeah.
Falkirk
on the
is
31st
funny.
of July. Do we stretch to Falkirk?
We can, but
Canada.
I'll see you in London, darling.
I think we're probably trending in Falkirk. We're certainly trendy in Falkirk if we went there. Well,
yes, I am doing all those things, so do come and see me, because the show is quite a laugh.
No, it is.
I loved it.
I've already heaped praise on it on this show, and that's when it was still basically in liquid form in sections.
It was a baby. I'd like you to see it again, because it was work in progress. It's still work in progress, but it's changed a lot. So
well, I don't want you to come and see mine.
I know, you won't let me see it.
I won't let any of my friends see it.
Yeah, but you came to mine, so it's not fair.
No.
This is awkward.
That's correct.
Oh, you could have done this bit off air.
And this is something you can learn. Any children listening, life isn't fair.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've been talking about hypnosis this morning. Bob, who is the assistant producer on this show, you know Bob.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
Bob who never uses soap, shower gel or shampoo.
But he looks immaculate.
He just rinses. Yep. We found out last week.
He's very well rinsed.
He tells us, SpongeBob, I call him. He tells us that Sandy Waugh, our newsreader and travel announcer, is a trained hypnotist.
Mm.
Now, and she's nodding at me.
Sandy Waugh mother-in-law.
She's nodding at me from the other room now.
Yeah.
That's from one look.
Yeah.
I'm thinking when I get the John Wayne pocket watch on its Prince Albert chain. Is it Prince Albert the chain, or is that
that's something entirely different.
awful.
No,
Stop
we better not. I think I've got mixed up with American politician Dick Cheney.
Don't talk about Prince Albert. Sorry,
No, okay,
Alan.
sorry. I meant it's coming from Monaco, the John Wayne thing. That's right.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm fascinated. I can't speak to Sandy because we're mid-show, obviously. But imagine, I still don't believe it, but Sandy Waugh would not lie.
No. We have had various texts in from
We
people
have.
that have been
So
hypnotised.
confused. Oh, really?
And including one that confesses they may have wasted our time a bit, but not quite. When we were at uni, we had an act at our union one night called something like Jeff and the Hypno Dog. The dog would hypnotise people, in inverted commas. I can't remember much more about it, if I'm honest. I may have wasted your time. Not quite, because worked...
Sandy's qualification sounded really impressive, and now they've got dogs doing it.
Exactly, and it's not Jeff and the Hypno Dog. I actually work with this guy. He's called Hugh Lennon and his amazing Hypno Dog. I mean, you've worked with them all, so I'm assuming you've worked with
Hugh Lennon.
And I did a Cambridge ball, and you can imagine the bacchanalian...
A lot of my friends would have been there.
The scene, I mean, the drunkenness. I think,
the low-cut gowns.
I think I was on at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is a long time ago now. And Hugh Lennon didn't go on. He turned to the person that had booked us and he said, I can't go on. These people are too drunk. And it was a bit of, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
I can't hypnotise people in this condition. They might break an ankle or something.
Well, what's going to happen is that we're going to get a challenge, aren't we? And someone's going to say, well, we'll hypnotise Frank Skinner and let's see whether he believes in it or not. No, but I believe that if you're a Roman Catholic, you're not allowed to be hypnotised.
Is that right?
Just in case it's
there's
true.
always a caveat.
Just in case it's true, and you might go and do something sinful. Just in case it's true, of course, is our motto in the Roman Catholic Church. You may know.
We have an email during the week. Dear Mr. Radio, DME and Cockerel, we hope this email makes it to the show, as by the time you read it, we will be sitting down for a bubbly brunch to kick off our little sister Verity's hen party. The theme...
Buble brunch.
Indeed. The theme, inspirational women. And no prizes for guessing who we were all wrestling to pay homage to in our dress. The Style Con, see what they've done there? Style Con, that is Emily Dean, of course. It would be an honour if the fair lady herself could wish us a happy hen do, and also if you could tell us which female icon you would represent if you were to attend this auspicious occasion. Finally, it feels only right to attempt a dame's move. So if Emily happens to be in the Woolwich area this evening and has a hankering for canapes and champers with the likes of Mother Teresa, Foxy Brown and Mrs. Overall, then we would welcome her as our honoured guest.
Good bookings.
Oh, it sounds like one of my parents' dinner parties.
Foxy Brown, is that the
Yes.
Hugh Grant person?
No, that's Divine Brown.
Oh, I was going to say
sister.
hardly inspirational.
Foxy
Well,
Brown's a
depends
sister.
where you're coming from.
Who is Foxy
Can I say
Brown?
I'm very honoured, ladies. That was a Quentin Tarantino film. It was character. I wish them a very happy hen do.
Mahatma Gandhi.
What?
That's who you've got.
He was a happy Hindu.
I thought that was your inspirational woman.
Yeah.
No, mine would be...
I need to choose. I've got my inspirational woman. If I went to that party, I would go as Tracy Emin, CBE.
Nice.
Oh, good.
She's a friend
Good
of the
call.
show, and she had an installation called Everyone I've Ever Slept With, and I respect that.
I have to say, dressing as you for a hen do would
I
be
think
the...
you did that, and there's 70 people living in it.
And I'd get to wear I could just go around with an eider down over me, so I'd be nice and warm.
Oh, smashing.
Wouldn't dressing as you be the most expensive fancy dress costume anybody's ever had to assemble?
Even I couldn't afford
Need
that.
to go in the fashion
To be
topic.
honest, yeah.
Who would you go as, Al?
Inspirational women. It's
Yeah.
got to be Thatcher on it. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Judy
Thanks.
Bloom.
Thanks, Matt. Judy Bloom.
I'm thinking Karen Matthews. She inspired me. She inspired me to get a flat on the 11th floor
Oh my God.
and get away from it. Sure, she didn't do it. It's a happy ending. It's all right if it's a happy ending. Anyway, so thank you so much for listening this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is
Frank Skinner.